Welcome to Living Chassidus. Together, let's live the Chassidus we learn.
Okay, welcome everybody. We are here for our second class, but if you missed the first class, it is not a big deal, of Solid Foundations book club. So everybody should be able to have your booklet right in front of you. One of the most incredible things about this book, or this booklet and this book club, is that it takes these concepts that we learn, whether it's in Shar Bitachon or whether it's in different classes, and he just makes it so tangible and down to earth and talking to you in your life right now. And so that's why I really insisted on getting copies, and because this is not actually published yet. So this is a sneak preview. We're getting the pre and they were so gracious.
What the book is gonna look like?
I don't know.
Oh, this is like a pre. Okay.
This is really pre. So it's a really big schos that we're learning it together. Now, some of the greatest messages that I've learned, and I'll give you one tiny tidbit that I really appreciated from last week, and that we will get started a little bit on that footing, and then we'll go delve right into today, is the aspect that life, well, there's two parts actually. The aspect that our life has so much clarity when we associate ourselves and identify ourselves with our neshama. So, for example, when I say, who am I? And we think about it and we work towards really identifying with our neshama, even though that's not necessarily who we listen to constantly. Maybe that's not how we talk, or how we, sometimes we want to stay up crazy late watching YouTube stuff. Is that the neshama's call? Not necessarily. I'm sure no one can relate to such things. Nothing at all. But exactly. As the joke goes, you start looking for recipes for lunch for the next day. A few hours later, you're learning how to talk giraffe language. Like that's just how it goes. So, but I'm sure none of us can relate to that. So, bringing it back to the idea that at the end of the day, or at the beginning of the day, the more time we spend identifying ourselves with our neshama, not all the other desires that, who am I? I am not the Yetzer Hara talking and telling me to do whatever, or be depressed, or worry, or stress out. That's not who I am. Happens to be that's the activity I'm doing currently. Maybe that's the hat I'm wearing at this point, but that's not who I am. So when we identify ourselves with our neshama, and when we really see ourselves as, okay, I'm a neshama who's going through a struggle right now, or I'm the neshama who is feeling kind of sad. I know that that's not the neshama's mode of living and existing, but that's just where I am right now. Suddenly, you're able to feel disconnected from the negative pull that we have in life sometimes, or from it's just not who I am. That's the activity I'm doing, but that's not who I am. Does that make sense? So the more time we practice and we remember that we are a neshama, not only does that give us the space to be able to say, okay, this is whatever activity is pulling my whether it's my nefesh habahamis, meaning my animalistic soul, or my Yetzer Hara, like literally the part of me that is pushing me to do bad things. But also, hey, nothing to be sorry about. Welcome home, everybody. So the more we do that, the more we start to see the world from a totally different perspective. Because many times we live in this world where, whether we're surrounded by Yetzer Hara, or whether we're surrounded by Lashon Hara, or whether we're surrounded by, I know that many times we're like in a social situation and everybody's doing this thing. So we feel like, am I the only weirdo that isn't, talking gossip about other people, or am I the only person that's not tempted to do this thing? Are you looking for the? Oh, okay. But when we see ourselves as a neshama and we separate that aspect, so we're able to live life tefa hecher, like one step higher than whatever is the schmutzik that's driving us nuts, right? Like we're able to like separate. The second part, which I really love about this, is that when we live, and this is the Living Chassidus logo, I'll pull it out again, is the circle with glasses, and it says Hashem Echad, because our goal in learning Chassidus, and not just learning Chassidus, but living Chassidus, is to see the world from Hashem's perspective. To really take a step back and say, maybe the rest of the world tells me that it's doomsday, or the news is telling me that the world is coming to an end, or, you know, whatever we're surrounded by. I was recently speaking to someone, and she lives out of town, and she's like, I really miss the Crown Heights bubble, in the sense that people keep talking about like men-women things, or like dating in a non-sneous way, or like a lot of divorces keep happening in our community, and it's interesting because it sometimes when we are too involved in the rest of the world's things, then we start not noticing, but our line of normal tends to shift. So anyway, so identifying, she okay, fine. She's buying cups. Yeah. That's our someone. Come on. Anyway, so when we see the world through Hashem glasses, we're able to live above. We don't have to live within the world that is pushing us downwards, or depressed, or struggle, or stress, or whatever. I think that's her.
She said it's fine, but we can use it.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Thank you. Someone's thirsty now. Before, okay.
Right when she shows up. Okay. Anyway, the next aspect that we learned, which we can delve into and catch up on a little bit, is the concept that Emuna is a part of us, just like a neshama is a part of us, and we know. You want to check on the button over yonder? Yeah, that one. Yeah. Okay. The other aspect is that many times we talk about the concept of Emuna and Bitachon, right? We say Emuna, we say Bitachon, Emuna and Bitachon, and brings the Geula, but we don't actually know what the concept of Emuna is, right? Because sometimes we think Emuna is this blind faith, like I'm just gonna jump and God's gonna save me. That's it. That's Emuna. Emuna is, and in the, I guess the word is colloquial, right? Colloquial English, they call it like blind faith. It's like this, whatever, okay, God will save me. When it comes down to the real essence of Chassidus and Shar Bitachon, we learn that Emuna is a real, felt, and clear belief in Hashem, in the concept of what Hashem is, and not just what Hashem is. Today we're going to learn even more about what's the nature of Hashem and how He creates us in this world. So it's a really, really powerful. Someone wants to learn with us. It's a really powerful distinction. We'll also learn that Bitachon is a little different. Emuna is how Hashem is up until this point. So Emuna kind of plays in for our past and our current situation. Bitachon is looking forward. What's going to happen next? So, for example, we went through a really hard struggle. I mean, I'm not going to do a raise of hands because no person has a perfect life. Unless, let's do that, raise of hands. Raise your hand if your life is perfect. Yay! Oh yeah, exactly. All of us, everyone, all of us. So everybody's gone through a struggle, right? So when we look back at our struggle and we think back, wow, that was really hard, or this is really hard. Let's say we are currently in a challenge. What is the Emuna that we're looking at that past and that present in? Now, what's going to happen looking forward? So what's going to be tomorrow? What's going to be, could it be that in 5 seconds this challenge will be over? And all of us could say, but that doesn't make sense. It's impossible. According to nature, I'm not going to have this thing resolved, whether it's an illness or a shalom bayis situation or a financial situation. Like, according to nature, this can't be fixed right now. But now we're going to learn, number one, going back to step one, we connect ourselves to our neshama. I see the world from Hashem glasses. Hashem is all powerful. He literally created every single aspect. He created the challenge, and he could also create that in the next moment the challenge is over. And we see this. We see this. I know that we tend to like, wow, that was a miracle, and then we move on and we continue stressing out about whatever. But like, it happens. It happens that there's the famous joke of this woman is she's trying to find parking, and so she's like, Hashem, if you help me find parking, I'm gonna do whatever, and I'm gonna take on this mitzvah, and I'm gonna take on that mitzvah, and then suddenly like she finds parking, and she's like, oh, don't worry, Hashem, I got it, and it's like, we tend to forget the incredible miracles that are like literally right in front of our eyes. So now we're gonna delve deeper into Emuna, what that means, and also the reminder that as much as we think that our lives are based on logic, but in reality, as we said last week, logic is like a GPS. It's not a compass. Okay? Compass shows you true north. It's always going to point in that direction. Now, if we use logic, we might want that north should be a little twisted. So then what we're going to do is we're going to find a way to find excuses. So if anybody's ever wanted to do something, not that anyone has any negative desires at all, I'm sure, but if anybody's ever wanted to do something, first they want to do it and then they find the loopholes to make it happen, right? Oh, but if I could, I mean, who's gone shopping hungry? Okay, right? So my husband knows I am not allowed to go shopping hungry, because even though it doesn't make sense within whether it's our budget or our meal plan or whatever we were planning to buy, I end up buying like 7 other things, right? So what do I want? I want more food, or I want food, period. Logic is out the window. Now I just use logic to give an excuse, but I really could use some of that, and I really need some of this, and I really need some of that, and then suddenly we get to that end point. So Emuna isn't about logic, even if we can't feel it or see it. Just like gravity, we can't feel it or see it, but we still know it's here and we still believe in it. So even if we don't always feel this like overwhelming feeling of like, wow, Hashem is so awesome, or Hashem is in my presence, or I'm in Hashem's presence right now, the reality is that it's there, and our neshama feels it, and our neshama knows it, and now it's a matter of working towards tapping in. So far, so good? Any questions before we get started on today's part? No? Okay. If anybody wants to read, we totally can do that. You do not have to be in the recording, mitzad the vision, but we would just ask you if you can record into the microphone. Is anybody up for reading? We are up to page 7 on the second to last paragraph, which starts with what really makes Emuna. Yay! Thank you. I was gonna say, if you're up for it, wanna come sit over here? Yay! Thank you.
Okay, where am I reading from? You said where am I next to it?
Here, yes.
Just
And then read, and then I'll take over.
okay.
Periodically.
Okay. What really makes Emuna the bedrock that it is are the truths that we see with our Emuna. The Rambam enumerates 13 such truths, each of which is an important part of a Yid's foundation for life. First and most fundamental among them is the existence of Hashem. He is one, without beginning and without end. He is the creator of all that exists and is continually creating and renewing existence. There is no other power but him. Every other force we see in the world is merely an expression of his will, bringing about his desired outcome in the manner of his choosing.
Okay, so this sometimes we kind of take it for granted. But let's take a moment, and I'm talking to myself 100% because I'm currently going through a couple of challenges, so I'm just far-bragging with myself. Hope you guys don't mind. But we say this all the time. He is one without beginning and without end. He is the creator. He's continuously creating. And we say it, and it sounds like la, 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 la. But if you take a moment to think about it, he literally created you, your current experience, and everything that's going on around you. Like, there's a saying, yesh balabait po. Like, there's someone here in charge. This is not like by random. It didn't happen to me. It happened for me. Right? He literally predestined that this challenge that whomever is going through right now, he chose it perfectly with his incredible, which we're going to learn more about that, but like with his incredible intention, he chose it for you. And on not only the challenges, every single blessing you have, every single good thing you have in your life was literally predestined and handpicked right for you. Does that make sense? Okay.
These truths shield us from the emotional turbulence that comes with a challenge. Without them, we would be tossed in a storm like a ship with no rudder. Hashem has chosen to cloak his presence and give us the impression that the world works by natural cause and effect. That's a defining characteristic of our world. In fact, the word olam, world, is related to the word helem, concealment. Things sometimes seem bleak. The forces we confront seem great, and all projected outcomes look bad. Without our Emuna, we seem and feel powerless in the face of this adversity. Our Emuna pierces the illusion and sets us on firm ground. A video is comprised of hundreds or thousands of still images displayed at high speed, creating the illusion of sequential movement and a great analogy for the illusory qualities of our world. Each moment of our apparently seamless reality is independently created by Hashem. Living within that reality, we experience the illusion of cause and effect, but the sequence is, in truth, wholly contingent on Hashem's will. At any point, Hashem can create a different continuation or outcome, the miraculous salvation we need.
So if we take it back to this concept of seeing the world through Hashem glasses because we identify with our neshama, this is a perfect reminder. Hashem created this image, just like the video, as we just explained. Every video is a compilation of specific images. And Hashem could choose that tomorrow or the next second's image is totally different. It's 100% within his control. Just like everything else in the world, your life and your experience is within his control. So just having that reminder gives us this like a moment to breathe. I don't have to be stuck in this path. I don't have to be stuck in this challenge. I don't have to go down the path of nature just like what everybody else tells me I do. Hashem, my loving Father, created my past. Hashem, my loving Father, created my present. And Hashem, my loving Father, could totally change the future. Does that make sense? Questions? Comments? Nah, come on, guys. Seems too easy. No complaints. Someone's gotta complain.
Okay,
You're processing. Okay, fine. As long as it's good processing, not spaced out processing.
It's not only from there.
Yeah.
Not only does Hashem create everything,
Wait,
did I skip a paragraph? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Not only does Hashem create everything, our Emuna tells us that Hashem orchestrates every aspect of creation with divine intention. As the Baal Shem Tov says, even a leaf blows in the wind by divine intention, and it's moved exactly that way by Hashem for a purpose. All the more so when it comes to matters that impact Yidden, those who serve him and fulfill his purpose in creation. We mention this special connection multiple times each day as we affirm our Emuna, Shema Yisrael. We say Hashem Elokeinu. Hashem is our God. Everything that happens to us is exactly as Hashem intends it. Our Emuna also tells us that he intends only our good.
Okay, pay attention, everybody. Next chapter, next paragraph is good.
Hashem is the essence of goodness. Our Chachamim even say that to do good to his creations is one of the reasons Hashem created the world to begin with. He is our loving Father, and everything he does, which is everything that happens, is good and is for our good. And he knows what is good for us better than we can know ourselves.
Okay, let's take a moment to process. Thoughts, comments? One of the lines that resonates with me, and I've been living with this for years now. I should live with it more, but when we ask Hashem for something, there's 3 answers. Hashem could answer us 3 different options. He could either say yes, he could say not yet, Or he could say, I have something better for you. And having this mindset, Hashem is good, Hashem loves us, Hashem only wants what's best for us, and he literally creates our existence, our experience only for the good, that takes some time to marinate. Because if we actually live in that mindset, then suddenly our problems are a lot lighter. They feel a lot lighter, and they are a lot lighter.
I have a good example that like imagine you're like on the road, you're trying to whatever, you're going somewhere, and like you think you're going in the wrong direction, but when you are believing in Hashem and that like you're going the path that Hashem is guiding you towards, then you're going in the right direction. And you're like, oh, I'm not lost. So it's like at least you're not going the wrong direction. Like it is long and you don't know where you're going, let's say, so you're going to like a new place that you've never been before. But like as long as you're on like the right road, because like when you get turned around, it's really annoying.
Yes.
So like at least you're heading in the right direction. Like Hashem is guiding you forward. So
I love that. I love that. I feel like even bringing it into whatever is our personal challenge we're going through right now. It's like I'm not going in the wrong direction.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hashem is not right, but it's not wrong.
Not wrong.
Exactly. Right. It's not what I was hoping or expecting. And yeah, like really, really processing that and letting that like settle into all aspects or of whatever happened. And not only that, I think a lot of people live with this really harsh and negative version of what Hashem is and does, what Hashem does. And I've heard this many times where people say, Hashem's really testing me on this, or Hashem's challenging me, or Hashem's putting me through the ringer, and just those small words show us that it's a different perspective on who Hashem is and what he does. Because in essence, we might feel like it's the ringer, we might feel like it's a challenge, we might feel like I'm getting squeezed. And I recently went through a situation like this, and I just said, Hashem, you're squeezing me so tight, I don't think I can continue. And it just felt so suffocating, but at the same time, like trying, and that's why I keep reading this over and over and over, but really reminding ourselves that he's not doing anything bad to us. He's not trying to squeeze us till we're a pulp. He's trying to help us see our true potential. And I guess he believes in me more than I think I believe in myself at this point. But again, that makes a shift. Just that change of wording. He believes in me more than I think I believe in myself. Like that's not him trying to do something bad to me. That's not Hashem is torturing me. That's not Hashem's putting me through a bad situation. It's a shift on my relationship with Hashem. And once we work on that shift and we pay attention to how we speak about Hashem and how we perceive Hashem in our lives or what he's doing to our lives, we'll be able to pick up on these cues and say, maybe I'm misunderstanding how Hashem is processing or how I'm processing what Hashem is doing to me. Does that make sense? Any thoughts, comments?
Does that mean that Hashem tests people? Because you test them with me. Maybe it's different.
Maybe it's I wonder if the connotation of test just means something else for people. So for some people, when they're in the test, they feel like that big bad guy, like with the, I don't know, coming to get you test. At least that's how I hear it often. But for example, I recently had a discussion with one of my kids, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that school's over because we don't have this type of test that his Rebbe kept giving him." And I said, "But your Rebbe's just your Rebbe's trying to see how much you're learning. Like the test isn't out to get you. And B, he's trying to help you see how much you're learning." So I guess it's a connotation on what the word test is. What Hashem's challenging me. sometimes when people say that, it doesn't come with like, oh yeah, like let's take it, woohoo, usually comes with like, oh, Hashem's challenging me, like poor me. So that tiny, I guess the connotation on the word.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. This was a great comfort to me during what seemed to be setbacks in my case. As an example, those around me who were filtering the experience through a natural lens felt that losing the appeal for resentencing before the district judge was a heavy loss.
Oh wait, can I give a little context? I
Yes.
forgot that he's going into the story. Okay, so just a reminder, our author is Rabbi Shalom Mordechai Rabashkin, who was imprisoned for 8.5 years after a very, very terrible anti-Semitic situation. And it literally made no sense. He got 27 years in prison for things that everybody else in the world gets 6 months, and real serial killers and really terrible, terrible criminals got like a lot less years for whatever. I don't want to get into the intricacies of the legalities or the legal system or whatever, but just to give context, he literally did everything b'derech hateva to reduce the sentence or to even be freed, and it went all the way up to the Supreme Court, which is the biggest court that you can get to, and on Aleph. I think it says it here. But anyway, I'm pretty sure on Aleph of Teves, yes, on Aleph Teves, he got the rejection letter for the last possible b'derech hateva, like the last possible way that the legal system could have possibly reduced his sentence. And he got a big fat rejection letter saying, no, that's it, in prison for 27 years, no other way out. That's like, that was it. It was the final appeal, and he got a rejection. And obviously, the whole world was in shock, and just what are we going to do with this information? And he reacted with joy, even though it was very hard for him. But he was already in this mindset that Hashem doesn't do anything bad to me. So he reacted with joy, and he said, I don't understand it. This is absolutely the best thing that could have ever happened. And everyone was in shock, like, how are you saying this? He said, well, Hashem is good to me, and he's taking care of me, so this must be good. And then on Beis, which is the next day, so on Aleph, he had Emuna. On Beis, President Trump commuted him and freed him the day after. And on Gimel, that Beis going into Gimel, he literally left. So Gimel represents Geula. So just to give you context about Aleph, Beis, Gimel. Yes, and it literally happened on those days. If I have corrections, I will make them next time. But if I remember correctly, that was pretty sure Aleph, he got the negative. Then he kept his Emuna. Beis, it was released, and he came out Gimel. Anyway, so that was the context. So if you want to, Naki, you can understand the sentence better.
Will I reread it?
Yeah.
Okay, this was a great comfort to me during what seemed to be setbacks in my case. As an example, those around me who were filtering the experience through a natural lens felt that losing the appeal for resentencing before the district judge was a heavy loss. Viewing these developments with Emuna, guided by Torah, I insisted that it was the best thing that could have happened to me. I didn't understand why, but I knew this to be true with the certainty of my neshama. Years later, when Hashem granted my miraculous salvation through the good President Trump, the benefit of that loss, quote loss, became clear to all. Had the resentencing occurred, the judge would have at best conceded a few years and still issued a terrible sentence, say 20 years or even 15. Within the natural order, that would have mollified some of my supporters and reduced support for the clemency that commuted my sentence after 8.5 years. Identifying the source and nature of Emuna tells us something very important. Emuna is not a madrega or a skill we need to acquire. As Yidden Neshamos, it's an inherent part of our nature. All we need to do is uncover it and learn to rely on it. When we do, we gain absolute certainty about truths for which logic is incapable of providing certainty. That sounds great, you might be saying, but I don't feel that certainty. That may be, but the Torah assures you that it's there. If you don't hear your neshama, You have to examine the ideas and behaviors you picked up in life and discard those ideas or behaviors that conceal your neshama. You need to learn and internalize the Torah, which brings your neshama and its emuna to the fore, in your mind and in your life. Uncover it and bring it to bear on your life because it's the foundation that will see you through even the strongest storms.
Okay, we'll take a moment to process this for a second.
Does it always have to be that it makes sense that Hashem is kind to us and very good? Like even when you see young kids have cancer, die, or kids that you see them on wheelchair, like disability, very very bad situation. How can you think that? I'm saying it doesn't always, or all this widow now in Israel, all the soldiers was killed, and tons of orphans kids.
Mm-hmm.
Why we doing the effort to understand Hashem is good to us and we're doing this I mean, okay, it doesn't always have to make sense. Just this is life and continue live.
I love that question. So basically, when we see a lot of negative things happening, why do we have to work towards, okay, so Hashem is good and Hashem is taking it's all the rosy and peachy and he's so good, and we're trying to like kind of force that mindset into what we see are negative experiences, right? Am I understanding? So there's two aspects to this. There's a difference between how we see others and what they're experiencing and how we see ourselves in our own lives. So this concept is primarily for ourselves. When we are going through a challenge, we have the power to say, okay, I need to remember that Hashem is taking care of me, Hashem is good, and Hashem only does good. That like there's only goodness coming my way. When we see other people going through suffering, it is our absolute responsibility, according to Torah, to do everything we can to be the person or be there or support them or make it good for them. So we can't just say, okay, Hashem, it's fine. He's good. He's taking care of them. That's not for anybody else. That's only for ourselves. There's actually a famous story of Rabbi Yitzchak Bardichev, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure it's him. Somebody came to him and said, I heard that you learn a lesson from everything in the world. If somebody knows the real source, or if I quote it incorrectly, please correct me. And they asked him, so if you're learning a lesson in Avodas Hashem for everything, what can we learn from, oh my gosh, what is it called when somebody doesn't believe in Hashem? Atheist, yes. What can we learn from an atheist? What's a lesson we can learn from an atheist? And he said, when someone comes to you and they have a problem, it is your responsibility to say, Hashem's not taking care of him, I have to take care of him. I have to be the one that steps up and cares for them, says Tehillim, helps in whatever way. We're not relying Hashem, oh, okay, whatever, the homeless person over there, yeah, Hashem will take care of him. It's our job as a community, as a fellow Yid, as a sister, whether it's a sister from Avram Avinu or a sister by blood, it's our job to take care of other people's struggles. Does that make sense? So it's two different ways of looking at it. When we see it for ourselves, we should try to have a good, healthy, and positive relationship with Hashem. We'll understand why, because once you have Emuna, then you can build on the Bitachon. If we think that Hashem is bad and he's doing bad and he's not taking care of us and he's just torturing us, chas v'shalom, then we're not going to turn to him to save us next, because we have a distrust with him. Does that make sense? It doesn't help us it doesn't help us in general to have resentment against Hashem, because it just makes it so much harder. It's like living with somebody in your house that you absolutely hate, or you think that they're torturing you. That's really, really hard. So that's on the one hand. And on the other hand is to know that if we can trust in Hashem, we can love him, and we can see that his love is for us. So then we can ease into, okay, I trust you, and I'm willing to do what it takes to make this good. Or I know that you're taking care of me. I can relax. And that leads us into Bitachon, which we're about to learn. Does that make sense?
I think, in my opinion, that all this learning Bitachon and Emuna and chewing in this, it makes it harder. I think in a way it's like mitzvah parajuma, There is
Interesting.
mitzvot, yes, you understand. There is logic. Parabima, there is just because Hashem said.
Like a hike.
Right? It's a chok. Okay. So Hashem do things that look bad. That's it. Just live your life and move forward. You don't have to struggle and learn about it. Just כאילו, סבבה.
Is that it feels that way?
שלום, כאילו, you don't have to force yourself to learn Bitachon and Emuna. Okay, Hashem also doing bad things like that looks bad,
Okay.
like he's doing good, and that's it. Continue with your life. כאילו,
I guess I have a hard time with it, but yeah.
It's not a very Kabbalah approach. Like the whole thing about
no,
Kabbalah
I'm
is
trying
like,
to. It's hard to me to express this in English, but in Hebrew it makes more sense. That
Yeah.
you don't have to force yourself. I don't know how to say it.
Basically, if I understand correctly, what you're saying is it feels like we're over pushing the, like we're kind of like, as you said, we're forcing ourselves into this like, oh, Hashem is so good and he's taking care of us and it's all nice and it's all dandy. And meanwhile, for some people, it's much easier to just be like, okay, so Hashem slapped me today or whatever. I went through a struggle. Yeah, Hashem sometimes does that. Move on, let's go.
Yes,
Does that make
exactly.
sense?
Yeah, it doesn't make that. It doesn't mean that I don't love him anymore or I don't care him from Hashem.
And you don't care. Uh-huh.
Okay.
So in a certain sense for you, it's like, why are we?
Accept that there is bad and there is good. And move it forward. Don't stuck on this. Like
That's-
sometimes the weather is good and pleasant, and sometimes it's not. Just continue. It's very simple. Like I think it's.
I
like
love that. I wish I could live like that. Can we hang out? It's so interesting. I'm appreciating what you're saying. Okay, I'm processing. I don't like for me I think it would be very hard. I have a very hard time feeling that Hashem does bad to me. Or to I mean,
But it looks bad.
right. So I think that's the shift. I think it's like, okay, this doesn't feel so good, but like, okay, at least I know whatever Hashem does it sometimes. But I think even at the core of what you're saying, I feel like at the end of the day, I feel like as you said, it looks bad. It's not actually bad. So I feel like a lot of people live with Hashem is actually doing something bad. So I think you're already a step into Emuna and Bitachon, even though you're like, let's like we don't have to harp on it so much. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take it. I hear you.
Sometimes you do hear the voice of your neshama. For example, you know that parnasa comes from Hashem without question, yet you find yourself struggling with decisions that should really flow naturally from that clarity. This is because the other part of yourself, your body, is just as certain about its perception of the world, and it makes very logical arguments. When we hear these two voices, the culture around us trains us to ignore our emuna. Modern attitudes elevate the conclusions of the mind and dismiss anything that can't be understood and explained in logical terms as suspicious or outright false. Rahman al-Islam. We know that's not correct. Just as we accept the testimony of our physical eyes, even when we can't explain it, that the hows or whys of what we see, we likewise need to accept the testimony of our neshama's eyes, which is our inherent emuna, even if the part of us that wants to understand independently isn't quite there yet. By learning Torah, we will discover that the truth can also be presented in ways that are convincing to the mind, and that way we can serve Hashem fully, body, heart, and mind.
Love that. Okay. Any questions? Any comments? Any thoughts on Emuna and living with Emuna?
It's hard. I mean, like really, it is.
100%.
But it's a worthy pursuit.
Correct. I think, as I said in the first class, like this little booklet, I don't know if you can see how destroyed it is. It's all written on and mangled and whatever. As you can see.
How long ago did you get it?
A year and a bit. And I try to keep it by my breakfast spot by the table. And even if I just manage to read one or two sentences, one paragraph, I just keep going through it over and over because sometimes we just forget these things. We forget when we're in the struggle, when we're in that dark place, we're like, where's Hashem?
Need that flashlight.
Exactly.
I wanted to know, like, what part of the work is your neshama? Like, I feel like you can learn and still be disconnected.
Mm.
Like, still be like a more like either like a logical thing, like your brain is being involved. It's not like it's just like I feel like the idea of being connected to your neshama would be so because I feel like every day we're faced with so much of the world that it's almost like we're so out of contact with our neshama part that like what activities like we can even be doing holy things, but they could feel so disconnected. Like it
I
could be
feel
so
you.
around davening, fitas, like all these things could be so like yeah. It's not like you're feeling really your neshama because it's just like you're saying the words, or even if you're understanding it, it's just like a very like you know.
Yes.
And so much of the world, so much of our daily activities, or whatever it is, like physical activities are so worldly and so like, especially like in like just like our phones and social, like it's just like
Mm-hmm.
we're so bombarded with like so many different ideas and opinions and how things should be and expectations. I think that idea of being consistent Shama would be like, yeah, no, it really resonates because I feel like that's like the key. But I just feel like I wonder like what yeah. I think definitely davening is a time that you really can make. That's like a, like an avodah, like connecting your heart. So davening is thinking.
100%. And I've been trying to figure this out. Literally, exactly what you just said. I feel like even for example, because my when I first reached that question, because I learned this last year with the Rabashkins, and when I first reached that question, I'm like, the answer is chassidus. That is like the answer.
Right.
But then I was like, okay, let's pick up a sikha. And it feels so question and one opinion, another opinion, and the Rebbe refutes the opinion, and da da da, and the answer. So like, why did Avram da da da? Because da da da. So it's like I still did not. That was a great intellectual, beautiful pursuit, of Torah understanding and learning. But it didn't. I also didn't feel that connection. And I think that's why I kept learning this book, because I'm like, this makes me feel that. And then the more I thought about it, I started before davening, I started taking a moment to actually process what I was reading, because I think that's the part that as modern day Chabad has kind of forgotten about. We work a lot on the Chachma and the Bina, like, oh wow, let's really understand the Sikha, let's give it over, or whoever's the mimer, or whether it's like the spark, the what's it called, daily wisdom, like, okay, fine, I learned a little tidbit, but we really forget to actually like das, the hisbaininus, exactly, the actually processing, because it is in there. It's just not readily accessible. And that's the part that I'm trying to figure out, how to make a system, a program, a living chassidus, something where we can make it more of a practice.
Right.
Because not everybody has the hisbaininus time.
Right.
But there has to be a modern day way to accomplish this. There has to be. Like there's
I do think farbrengen, definitely like intimate farbrengen, definitely bring that idea like more to life. When you're discussing with people like in a real way and you're opening up your heart, I think that's the key. When it's not just like a brain thing, it's a heart thing.
100%.
Then you're discussing like real struggles and real ideas and you're inspiring each other. I think for me that personally is like when I had those like farbrengens, like I went to like I don't know, was it Yud Thomas? I went to like and then I came home, I was so inspired. And so the next day it just doesn't last for some.
You
Right.
have to do l'chaim. I'm telling you, I wasn't really into do this, but I was in one Fabringen, and the rabbi that was there, he forced us to drink l'chaim. Not grape juice. Not talking about the regular grape juice.
Strongly encouraged.
No, I'm telling you.
Meaning, oh, I say just
alcohol. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's yes.
I tell
It's
you
not
what.
it's not available for everybody, but okay.
No, even wine, red wine, little, because when you drink, it's something. It levels your heart. It's different, and you can go to deeper.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I meant.
Try that.
Right, I was gonna say.
Very much like the
Try
experience.
that.
Yes.
Hours of learning Hasidic, I could see, like, I think
And also he had the time to sit in it. Like just
right.
yeah, 100%.
So it is like a woman's are more in the sense of the world, like even just like mothers or women. You're just like that's it. Like your life is very physical. You
Yeah.
don't have like an hour sitting there like before the, you know, like.
And so that's what I'm trying. That's exactly what I'm trying to figure out. What's a practical way for a woman who's busy, who's whatever, to like actually take a moment to think about what they just said. Think about what they again, because many of us make the attempt. We learned the Hayom, we do the dot. We know even if it's like Shema Shema Esrei, we make an attempt, but to actually take a moment. I was going through a few years ago actually, but I'm still living with it. But like even just Ashrei, like line by line, just I would learn it. I would learn one line a week or whatever, and I would just like try to think about that line, even if I skimmed through it. You know, I ran through the rest of davening, but like one line in Shemana Esrei. Like just think about what it actually is saying. What are we saying here? For a long time, when I was working at America's, I would America's whatever. I would daven 770 and then I would go upstairs to the office, and they had the linear translation. So like even just for the Shemana Esrei, I would take one segment and I would just say it, read it in English, say it in Hebrew, read it in English, say it in English, but just one bit that you actually take a moment and think about how does this apply in my life. The tefillah right before Shema is absolutely incredible. Like if you actually literally right before Shema is
Huh?
yes, Salem. It is out of this world. Like just think about it and haha. Anyway, okay.
What helped me because I think it's individual and everyone has its own language.
100%.
Neshama is her own language.
Yes.
So it's very simple. I ask my neshama, what do you need now? What do you want now? And you'll be shocked from the answers.
That's incredible. Wow, I want to try that. I just hope I listen to the right one. I want to try that. I know you can kind of tell. Are you up for continuing? Or are you tired?
Sure. No,
Yeah.
I'm good. I wasn't sure for how long.
Yay. Oh wait, 1 second. Oh gosh, I missed the time. Are you guys up for a little longer? Maybe less than 10 minutes? At least we get started on the next segment.
Okay.
On page
Bitachon.
11.
Bitachon. Hashem wants us to trust him. Bitachon means trust, perfect tranquility of heart and mind. This is not a state that occurs in nature. Every living thing has needs. It needs to acquire necessities and protect itself against dangers of one sort or another. Despite our best efforts to fill those needs, the future is unclear. We don't know how things will end up, and this troubles us. Should we have done something differently in the past? Should we be doing something different right now? This anxiety and uncertainty are rooted in the impression we get from the world around us that the outcomes are shaped by our efforts. We better be sure we've done everything we can and we've done it right. Even when we're sure that we have, we're still troubled because there are myriad external factors and circumstances over which we have zero control, which could undermine our efforts and lead to an undesirable outcome. All that anxiety would be perfectly justifiable if the world actually worked that way, but it doesn't. Torah grants us true tranquility because it reveals that the reality is very different. As we discussed earlier, everything in the world and our lives is created and orchestrated by Hashem, not by our efforts, past or present. Furthermore, Hashem is the essence of goodness, and all He's done and will do in our lives is for our benefit. Knowing that the future is entirely in Hashem's hands and that it will be good, grant us the true tranquility that escapes those who believe that many forces, including themselves, contribute to their outcomes. In fact, it is our bitachon itself that makes us worthy of Hashem's bracha and Yeshua. And with every mitzvah to ensure that we are understanding and applying bitachon correctly, we need to learn about it in Torah, such as in Shar HaBitachon of Rabbeinu Bayachai.
Beautiful. Take a stop here and we'll process that for a minute. So as we said, Emuna is knowing that Hashem is here, Hashem is creating the world, Hashem handpicked every single aspect of our lives, from our past, our upbringing, our current experience. Every aspect of our life was taken care of, and Hashem is holding us in His hand just like this. It's just perfect, and He's He's taking good care of us. Now, what happens next? We think, what's going to be? Whether it's a job thing, or it's a financial thing, or it's a shidduchim thing. No, not that anybody knows about those things. But when is it going to happen? How is it going to work out? What's going to be next? What am I going to do tomorrow? Some people are stressed out about Tishrei already. What could it be, right? Week by week, hour to hour. Anyway, so when we have that, what can we rely on? And this is where Bitachon steps in. Even if we do everything, I'm sure everybody's attempted at, whether it's getting into a school, whether it's getting a job, whether it's a shidduch that you really hope works out, or that you really hope doesn't work out, and he keeps saying yes, like happens, and you're hoping for something, and you invested in it, and then it's at the end of the day, you're wondering what's going to be with my future, what's going to be with this situation. And you've done everything, or you haven't done everything within your control, but not everything in the world is under your control. And that in of itself is very anxiety inducing. That's very intense. I feel like I'm at the whim of the wind. The wind can blow me wherever, whenever, and I have no control over it. And that's when we jump back into our bitachon and we say, well, 1 second, I'm not at the whim of the wind. I'm in Hashem's perfect hand. Hashem is taking care of me. I trust in Him that whatever happened in the past was great, and I'm putting my proactive trust in Him that what's going to happen in the future is going to be even better. And next class, we're going to bring more about that. We're going to bring about previous hurts. Even when Hashem did something that hurt us last time, how are we going to process that for the future? And how are we going to try again? And even this kind of applies to, it's a future chapter about tshuva, that when we hurt Hashem, and He still loves us and He takes care of us and He's there with us, and really focusing in on that aspect can give us a lot of tranquility about what's our future, what's coming, what are we going to do. Just let us breathe. So, l'chaim to our next class. B'ezras Hashem, I hope to see everybody again next week. It's Hashem. Thanks for joining us.
What's wind?
Whim of the wind. Whim is like the how do you explain that? Mercy. Yeah, like at the wind is just kind of like blowing you around, and like you like.
How do you spell it?
WHIM, right? Whim. Yeah, I'm not a visual speller. Sorry. Okay. Thank you.